So I go through withdrawals, Dennis, the withdrawals, throwing up, Hershey squirts, restless leg syndrome for days, 1 hour or less of sleep per night for the next 6 months. That's what I was going through. Almost a half a year before I got more than 4 hours a night of sleep. Even my wife, when she came to visit me, dude, the happiest day of my life at that point. On my birthday, she showed up with the kids because you got to think at this point, I'm in this thing and I'm not using a facility. I'm not using no one's twisted my arm. No one said you have to do this. I'm not in a rehab. This is the step that I took on my own. So she came to visit, but before she came to visit, right, when I'm more in a clear state of mind, I'm sitting in the back patio one day of my brother-in-law's house. And, and I say to God, look, I've done this over and over and over, and I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I am sick and tired of doing the same thing over and over again. The only difference this time, and if you're real, this is how elementary it was. And if you're real, I promise I won't do another bad thing. But I'm putting all my eggs in this one basket called God. Right. And this is my last shot at it. And if this doesn't work, and this was my mentality at the time, if this doesn't work, nothing works anymore. Right. But I said it in my mind out loud. However, I was sitting back there and I said, I've tried every other option. This time I'm going to do it with God. So here you go, God, you take it from here. And it worked. And I'm sitting here. This May is going to be 6 years since I've used any drugs. Wow. And I'm sitting here, proof that since that day, God's been faithful to me, and I've tried to stay as faithful as possible to him. I still have many flaws. I still, go through all these other things. But man, when I'm telling you that making that deal with God was the best thing I have ever done. And I didn't even know what deal I was making. I just know I wanted him to be part of it. Right. I didn't get into the logistics of it. Like, how am I going to read the Bible? How am I going to do Bible studies? How am I going to eliminate this? And I literally took everything at face value, like elementary Christian. Like, if you're real,
okay, now we're back.
Hold on. You're back. Sorry, you had frozen.
You froze.
It's
for
okay.
A little bit. Yeah. You're good.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to up the internet.
No, you're good. Wow.
So then I can go back to going through the withdrawals and all that stuff. And Jenny came out to visit July 27, 2017, and man, it felt like I had a new life. Literally felt like I was given another shot at life. Like, this whole system has failed completely from the top all the way to the bottom. It's completely failed. It's meant for a lot of it to keep people in that cycle. Plain and simple. I experienced it. And if you or any of you guys have friends, I don't mind talking to them.
Dude,
if someone,
I'm so glad you said that.
Needs to reach out.
Yeah, someone came to mind as you're talking. So if you're interested, man, I got someone.
There's parts of groups that I was and stuff that I've spoke out, and I was able to shine some light for some of these guys and say, hey, look, this is what happened with me. You don't have to do what I did, but this is what happened with me, and you can see if it works, right? Yeah. But I'll tell you something right now. Your wife, your mom, your pastor, your D group leader, whoever, none of those guys are going to get you cured from this sickness. I promise you that. Yeah. There's not a system. There's not a rehab. There's no 12, 50, 80 step program. There's none of that's going to help until you've come to terms with yourself that you have that issue, right? And I know it sounds like people just say it now so much that people don't even pay it. But until you are genuinely ready to make a change, nothing is going to help. Some people wake up in the morning and talk to a tree for 12 minutes because that's what helps them fight their addiction. I'm not even joking. Some people have to squeeze a stress ball 4 hours a day to get through their addictions or whatever. Everybody does their own thing. I'm telling you what happened with me. I said, I've tried everything else. Let me give this to God and see what happens. And it worked for me. It's the greatest move that I made in my life, hands down. And now I'm able to tell even people at work. There's a guy who came up to me and said, hey, I started taking these and I started taking that, and now I can't stop. I'm like, look, man, until you're ready to completely stop, come back and talk to me then. Months later, he comes back. I tell him what to take for about 4 or 5 days. And then after that, cut it completely out. Here we are almost a year later. This was during the pandemic. And this dude is free of that stuff. I didn't do it. God put all this together, bro. And it's hard for me to talk about God at work, especially when you're working with a bunch of rednecks and stuff, and like, white collar, blue collar Americans, you know what I'm talking about? Rough around the edge kind of people. They don't want to hear that you're a wuss. They don't want to hear that this and that,
Right.
So and Ben knows, because I think I FaceTime with him, but I have little Jesus bobblehead on my dashboard at work, and that bobblehead has sparked more stories and more talks about Jesus than I would have ever been able to do. I didn't know why I got that or put it there, but that's what that led to that guy going and finally reading his Bible, cleaning up his act, setting his priorities straight. And it all started because of a bobblehead that I put there that I was ridiculed for. It's like, why do you put that bobblehead on that's blasphemy. Oh, really? Tell that to God.
Yeah.
Tell that to God, because he just gained another soldier. You know what I mean? Tell that to everybody else that came in my van and asked about that Jesus. And that was my token to start talking about something that I can possibly have to offer them. You know what I mean?
Heck yeah.
I don't care how your perspective of how you see the way things that I do might not make sense to you, but bro, they work for me. And what works for me might not work for you or Ben or anybody.
Sure. Wow, dude. Man, this is a whole different Rafa.
So yeah,
this is a whole different Rafa.
Here we are.
This
bro.
is amazing.
Great.
Like, I wanted to cry earlier, dude. Like, when you're talking about Jenny and the kids, and you're getting the house ready, and you got to buy her car. Like, I was like, literally, like, don't cry.
Yeah. Hey, with Jenny, man, I'm telling you, like, I've grown more with Jenny in the last year than I have all 16 years of my marriage so far. I've grown more the last year.
She stayed by you.
Nobody would have put up with me, bro. I'm telling you right now, any other girl, American, Romanian, whoever, say what you want. If it was me even, I would have been out the door the first year this crap was happening. 15 years, bro, she waited. Between me and my wife are finally best friends at year 16 of marriage. Do you understand? Like, all that stuff, if anything, made us stronger. I feel like going through that, there's knock on wood, whatever you guys do, stuff. I hope that I don't ever have to go back to the depths that we were in our relationship. I think we were there for a reason, to strengthen us from here on out and be an example for our kids, because in the end, that's all that really matters is